In the summer of 1976, Belinda left the Burbs for Hollywood's defiant and dirty punk rock scene. There, she met Jane Wiedlin, and together they embraced punk's anarchy and anger.
There was really nothing to be that angry about in the late 70s living in Southern California. I think for a lot of us it was about escapism and having the best time you could possibly have.
For 2 years, the girls' nights were a blur of cocktails and clubs. Then in May of 1978, they decided to start a band.
I think in the beginning it may have just been a fun thing just to be cool and to meet boys and just, be the coolest punks in the scene.
Belinda wanted to sing. Jane opted for guitar. On bass was dyed-in-the-wool punk Margot Olivaria.
I used to have pink and green hair. They used to call me Popsicle Head.
They called themselves the Go-Go's and set their sights on stardom. There was only one problem. They couldn't play a note.
We had to learn how to write songs. Learn about chords. We had no idea.
I mean, I didn't even know the name of what I was playing or anything, and or how to tune a guitar or nothing. We knew nothing. It was ridiculous.
But punk was less about skill and more about attitude, and the Go-Go's had plenty of that. Within weeks, they'd booked their first gig at Hollywood's notorious Mask Club.
It was a hellhole, basically. It was in the basement of a porno theater. It was filthy dirty and falling apart, and every time they had a show, the toilets would break and there'd be like sewage flooding the place.
Well, we played 3 songs, second song twice. And I remember people either laughing hysterically or just being absolutely mortified.
Somebody wrote that the Go-Go's are to music what botulism is to tuna. And we were really terrible.
But the poisonous press wouldn't stop the girls. In September 1978, they recruited guitarist Charlotte Caffey.
They said, "Hi, we want to know if you want to join our band. It's called the Go-Go's." And I looked at them, and right on the spot, I was like, okay. I didn't think twice.
We sought her out as a sense of security to produce better music because she was a songwriter and she knew how to turn the knobs on the amps.
But back then, their friendship was as much about sinning as singing. Together, they romped in a place they called Disgraceland, a rundown apartment complex on the seedy side of Hollywood.
It was all, lots of drinking and lots of boys.
They started this whole thing called the Booty Club, and boys were just booty.
So much of what we were doing revolves around boyfriends and getting laid, basically. It's just like such an amazing good time. But I remember all that time thinking, like, if only we could be rock stars, we'll be so happy, everything will be so great.
The Go-Go's limped along on the punk circuit until they hired driven drummer Gina Schock.
They were rehearsing a couple times a month, and I was like, guys, we got to rehearse 4 or 5 days a week if you want to make this happen.
It changed their sound incredibly. She was an amazing drummer, and it just added such a new dimension. It added dynamics and punch.
The band's sound improved, so much so that their friend Ginger Canzoneri was now volunteering to act as their manager.
I had such faith in the band. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it was, but there was some essence there that I just felt seemed so special.
One step beyond! In December '79, the Go-Go's were asked to open for Madness in L.A. Impressed, the British ska band invited the girls to open for them on a tour of the UK. The Go-Go's were ecstatic. Then, they got off the plane.
We're over there living on £2.50 a day, stealing milk off people's porches in the morning and drinking cough syrup to get high because we couldn't afford beer.
Going hungry was tough, but the gigs were torture.
They were skinhead audience. They hated us. I'd be dodging bottles that would get whizzing past my head all night. Poor Belinda, she'd walk off stage every night with just spit was just hanging, I mean, you know, all over her.
We were constantly being gobbed at and yelled at and abused, and it was scary.
After 3 months of torment, the girls returned home to Southern California.
I remember coming home from England, and we just felt like a bunch of whipped puppies or something.
Next, the Go-Go's get a makeover.
The idea of being what we really were, which was guzzling, foul-mouthed, anything for a good time girls, I don't think people wanted that from us.